Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nature Echoes on this Sunday, 26th of March, 2023. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, a few seconds late, because the usual sort of startup technical hitch, which is still with me. So give me a second or two, as something has gone awry with the one of the computers here. I think we're going. Yes, we're going. Fantastic. No, we were going. Yeah, okay, we're off. Thank you for joining me. It's our weekly time for echoing news, stories, poetry, and art connected to nature folklore and our precious water, holy wells, woodlands, hedges, and wildlife. So, hail, hal, whole, and holy good health to you all. And through this edition, I had planned on sharing three echoes, like I try and do. They were All Is Well, the Mayo Holy Wells Project, Astrology Retrogrades, and I'm still going to inform you about new developments within Journaling Nature Folklore course. But I'm going to postpone the Mayo Wells feature until next Sunday. And I was talking to Sarah Humble this morning briefly, and she had a great reception. So I haven't checked in to see how the quality is, but I see she's sort of hovering in and out, testing things. So I think we're going to have a wee chat with Sarah a bit later. Oh, she's gone again. Hopefully she'll be back a bit later anyway. But we'll be talking about the All Is Well website, the new website, hopefully, and she has a new book in the making. And I hope sorry, it's due to wee tech issues. I need to do a quick check to make sure you're even getting me at the moment. I think I think everything's okay. So hello, everybody. I think there's one or two of you there, which is fantastic. Let's see. Right. I had to do a couple of quick checks again. But first, I'm going to talk about astrology retrogrades, which seems very appropriate from what people say about retrogrades. I'm going to skip the usual hustlings that I do for subscribers that I do at the start. But later, I am going to share progress and developments with the new Journaling Nature Folklore, the course, and the online workshop that's going to come as well. And I'm going to tell you details of the first online workshop that's going to support the course. So let's see which lovely people are with us already. Nobody's actually making comments yet. I see from the figures there are a few of you joined in. So as you say hello, make comments and questions, I will talk to you a wee bit later and say hello. Anyway, astrology retrogrades. Let's get started with that, especially with the upcoming Pluto retrograde that's currently causing some social media excitement. And I think any of us on Facebook and even on Twitter too know that we know about this as well as with cats. And I should get some pictures going. This was another thing I had a thing. There we go. That's what we were listed to do. There's the Pluto retrograde sign. And as I say, this is the sort of thing you might get on the social media or on Facebook and Twitter. There you go. We've got a combination of cats and Pluto together there. There's nothing that energizes chat anyway on social media than when a Mercury retrograde appears, is there? And this is, let's show you, what's this? No, that's something that's going to come up. Anyway, it seems we can blame almost anything and everything that doesn't work for us when there is a Mercury retrograde, even changes to attitudes with our cats. And lately, there's a huge excitement, not only on social media, but I've been reading it in tabloid press newspapers and also on the coffee table and doctor's waiting room style magazines. All getting excited about Pluto just about to enter Aquarius. And I believe it already has anyway. But all kinds of things are being said, and the planet we call Pluto is going into retrograde too. Now, this is being posted and published as being much more alarming and transforming than any Mercury retrograde post I've ever seen, or even a cat learning to jump through a hoop, such as this. But just to remind you, Mercury retrograde, there we go. Some kind of tips for you there, which you're probably familiar with. But the more serious stuff that's being talked about, the Pluto retrograde, there you go. Just gone into April the 22nd, seems to be the exciting time. I think those dates are wrong. But anyway, the reading of that is kind of going to introduce you to what I'm going to be chatting about here. Anyway, being a bit smug, conceited, maybe a bit arrogant myself, I tend to try and crawl into a corner and let things blow over when astrologers start piping on about retrogrades, and they get into their sparks flying soapboxes, waving their Pluto enhancement or enchantment staffs, and their Pluto charged black rocks on their staffs as well. And within the modern ephemeris, and a few people actually use the paper published ones today, this kind of thing. I used to use them all the time. The colours are getting more fancy. They used to be just a sort of a pale blue, and that's an old-fashioned pale blue one. And there you go, looking through the. Not many astrologers do that now. Is actually look through the ephemeris, see what's going on, and make your hand calculations from that. Anyway, within that, as I say, within the modern ephemeris, astrologers, they track Pluto traveling through a sign, and to get through a sign, Pluto takes about 20 years or so. And at the start of these 20-year experiences, the interpreting astrologer then goes into a truly shock and horoscope trance. Yes, horoscope trance. And they deliver hell and brimstone speeches about it. And every Pluto sign change, we hit new transforming beginnings that often sound like a description of when we wash dirty woolen pullovers and we turn them inside out before washing them and transfer them back into looking like new pullovers when we wear them again. A bit unlike the one I'm wearing now. Anyway, I'm going to quote some lines from one USA astrologer. I'm not going to name the man, but he studied with quite a prestigious astrology school in the USA. And he's probably very excellent at his work. But if I said the things that he's saying when I was studying and passing out of the Faculty of Astrological Studies and also the Mayo School of Astrology, qualified in both a long time ago. Before that, I was also first taught by my family members who there's a lot of astrologers there, and they got me into it at a very young age. All of them, if I'd said about Pluto or any planets like this, I would have been thrown out. Anyway, this is what this unnamed man was saying of what's happening right now, and this is why I'm doing this as an echo today. So to quote some of what he said, Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time in over a decade. Pluto changes signs today. And this is momentous because Pluto represents one of the largest archetypal cycles of evolution upon humanity. Many practitioners and students of astrology sometimes look upon a Plutonic events with feelings of trepidation. They know that in rooting out and confronting that which has become dysfunctional and toxic, Pluto doesn't do anything by half measures. He destroys, he reveals nightmares, he brings catastrophe and collapse. He causes pain from things that we have avoided confronting and can't bear to see. In the end, our awareness of this underworld makes us stronger and compels the necessary adjustments to transform and evolve because our survival depends on it. Now, today, in many places, democracy doesn't exist, does it? Or it becomes so marginalized or weakened that it doesn't adequately represent the will of a group of people. And the sense of belonging to something greater than the self has now eroded. Authoritarianism has returned. In the wake of these developments, many feel captive, even enslaved. They feel like their freedom and independence has disappeared. In some areas, the basic rights of humanity no longer exist. This situation goes against the grain of the sign of Aquarius in just about every way possible. And that's now Pluto entering Aquarius. The great mutation is opening up the possibilities of renewing these external concepts. And Pluto can be much more insistent and very immediate. For the next couple of decades, Pluto will be becoming a wrecking ball. By the time his journey is complete, everything will be totally different. Even those who know nothing about astrology or this day can feel it coming, and astrologers, they see it. The Aquarius vision for the future produces hope, though. Even with all the risk and intensity that Pluto may unleash, the power of hope is what we may be fixed in enough to bring the world to its knees. One of the most transformational times in modern age has begun, and it's deserving our celebration. Well, I do repeat, for those who might have joined in thinking that was me speaking on the soapbox, that's not my interpretation of Pluto right now, but of another astrologer who actually studied with a reputable school in the USA. But as I was saying, if I had written that as a report, I would have been totally thrown out of the astrology schools I qualified in. Anyway, I find that to be very typical of new Pluto alignment narratives each time that Pluto surprisingly changes signs. And you may see from this meme the dates mentioned. If I can get that meme up, talking about the meme, I should have it up. No, that's not it. Yeah, this meme here. You'll see the dates mentioned, the March the 23rd to June the 11th. Well, that's not 20 years or so. The reason being is on the 1st of May, the so-called Pluto actually goes into this dreaded retrograde. But it's still in Aquarius before when it goes into retrograde. Hang on, I've got I'm stuck here. I don't know what's happened. Anyway, but on the 11th of June, the retrograde sends Pluto right back into Capricorn, which just come out of. And it doesn't turn around or come back out into Aquarius until near the end of this year. I forget the date, what that is. But I've got a personal huge problem with Pluto in astrology. A lot of this was driven by how I was taught by two schools, and the relation. What's happening is stuff popping up on the computer that shouldn't be popping up, and just from family as well. Now, sorry, but I think everything's going. My computers are going all over the place today, so I do apologize. I don't know what the heck's happening here. The whole thing is going. Everything is going haywire. I can blame it on the retrograde, can't I? I forgot about that. So give me a moment. Anyway, I think what I'll do is I can see some of your comments. So let's say hello for that whilst we get whilst things revolve on these computers. We've got over the half door there. Lovely to have Breezy on board with us over from the hills, and there's Amy here from Ontario. Hello. Susan Samuels here. Hello, good to see you, darling. What a wonderful day you've got in Burton there in Cheshire. Kate Cloud Sparks is there, which is fabulous, and we have Maverick Mustang manuscripts from England. Wonderful. Lovely to have you all on board. Thank you for joining me. And as I say, we've got Sarah Humble Live coming up very soon while I get off my Pluto soapbox here. Anyway, I'm going to talk about, Pluto, about why I have problems with it, more about that, because what I was taught from all three of my astrology apprenticeships is that it all started with observations and mapping by the ancient Chaldeans. Let's get some Chaldeans up. Oh, well, there's Chaldea anyway. Let's talk about that. As you can see, if you look at that old map, that is roughly what Utah is, certainly got, and Kurdistan. The Kurds were very much, they've descended from this. So you've got Babylon in there, and you've got Uruk, familiar places. So I'm still getting stuff popping up and that's blocking my screen. Let's see if I can control that. Anyway, most of the astrology we now use, it was actually transported. It went westwards. It was repackaged by the ancient Greeks in the University of Kos. I think there you go. Well, that's a relic that's on the Kos Island in Greece now. That you can visit. I haven't actually been there itself. It's on the bucket list. I'll have to, really. It's really surprising that I haven't. It looks like there's two Sarahs come on board now. Anyway, what was taught at Kos became what has become the standardized form of astrology. And through USA astrology researchers, they ended up taking that a bit further and put it in tandem with their love of fascination of psychological stuff like Carl Jung and even Sigmund Freud to help them along with their astrology interpretation. So it's moved along in that direction. But it does seem like fear-mongering drama has crept into interpretations, astrology interpretations, a lot more than when I learned this stuff. And a remarkable part of the Chaldeans' observations was the plotting of the orbits of Uranus, or Uranus as some people say, and Neptune. And humans have always been able to visibly see the sun and the moon and the 5 planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, as long as there's no light pollution and no clouds. But Uranus and Neptune, they've never been visible to humans. And William Herschel, I haven't got him and his telescope, but he picked up Uranus during March 1781. And at first, when he was observing, he thought he was seeing, like other astronomers had suggested, they got misty views on their telescopes, but they were getting excited about a star that was supposedly revolving around the Earth. So Herschel, thereafter recording a few sightings, believed that he had actually discovered a comet, a new comet. There was no thought of planet at this stage, but with the help of other astronomers, along with Herschel, they convinced him that he had observed a planet. And they also call this planet Uranus due to the similar mythology name that was used by those Mesopotamia lads, and also in Kos in Greece as well. But it's fairly obvious reasons why the planet quickly changed its name, especially the era, that you didn't go around saying Uranus in the language, especially in the 19th century and Victorian times. So to honor Herschel, they called the planet by his own name and included an H. If you've seen the Uranus sign, there's an H over sort of a planet sign. Sorry, I haven't got a sign for that now. But I think the Uranus name came back during the 1950s. It reverted back to the original mythological name. But maybe because from the 50s onwards, people were describing more people as being assholes anyway. So anyway, sorry, I'll get my coat after that one. But as for Neptune, that was observed by telescope in September 1846. And then Pluto was officially discovered February 1930. But the pattern of discovery is a bit like of Pluto, really, was like astrologers interpret Pluto today, because after the lads discovered Neptune, this became a time of the increasing Celtic Romance age, which I often talk about on Nature Echoes and Nature Folklore. And that also included sky mythologies came into the romance as well. And astronomers became very addicted to the idea that they would personally become the next famous astronomer that would have a planet discovered, and it also gets named after them, all by something they desire. Now, Neptune was actually discovered by taking some of the ancient Chaldean observations of planets past Saturn. They really took the example of Uranus and then mathematically brought the calculations or the observations that the Chaldeans used and converted into mathematics. They brought that forward to their present time in order to speculate where Neptune would be visible in the sky. And luckily, they found out this was incredibly accurate. So it was discovered that the Chaldeans, then the ancient Greeks, were very accurate with their positioning of Uranus and Neptune well before they were seen in telescopes. But progressing through the ancient Neptune calculations, that's how they honed in on the position of that. Eventually, to see they use the calculations based on the Chaldeans. Oh, it's over there. Pop the telescope in that direction. They managed to observe Neptune and plot it. But very different. There were some upstart astronomers that were eager to find some more planets beyond Neptune. They wanted, as I say, they wanted to be superstars in planet discoveries. So the challenge then was, once you're beyond Neptune, you're going into the Kuiper belt, which is really a belt of broken up planets and star debris that circles around the solar system. I think I might have a photo of that. There we go. I'll show you that. There you go. You can see that. And look at those strange names. You might recognize some of them there. But that's the Kuiper belt anyway. Right. Yeah. So to conclude in this, in that Kuiper belt, got only Pluto, you got Orcus, you got Makemake, Kuar, Humir, and the beloved transforming Plutos amongst all that in the Kuiper belt. And added to that, Arawn, I think that's how it's pronounced, that was discovered in 1994. It has a diameter of 83 miles. Pluto is bigger, it's 1,500 miles in diameter, so that's what makes it seem mammoth. Orcus is 530 miles wide, and Makemake's 870 miles wide, and so forth. Now, Pluto was first observed through a telescope in Flagstaff, Arizona. Clive Tombaugh, can't pronounce his name. Anyway, due to the persistent obsession of a man called William Pickering, who his whole life was the determination to get his name onto a planet. And Pickering was also an observer. He was obsessive with divining and clairvoyance as well. So he was mixing this together. Like I was saying, it's all part of this Celtic romance stuff. But Pluto ended up getting its name. It was named Pluto by an 11-year-old girl called Venetia Burnley. She was in Oxford, England. And after hearing or reading about Pickering and Tombaugh's discovery, said that their discovery beyond Neptune into the Kuiper belt, it reminded her of Pluto, the god of the underworld. And she had a vision of this cold, dark, and forgotten place. So Venetia's grandfather, he was an astronomer, and he had contacts in the astronomy world, especially in the USA. So he passed along her granddaughter, 11-year-old granddaughter's suggestion of Pluto, and he got to the people in Flagstaff. And they accepted that. That's how Pluto got its name. And in return, the 11-year-old Venetia, she received a payment of £5 on the 1st of May, 1930. Now, during August 2006, Pluto was downgraded. It was actually downgraded from being a real planet to a new reference to what they call dwarf planets, which included Orcus and all those others I mentioned. But Pluto is still the largest of those dwarf planets, but only just. Compare that, I was saying 1,500 miles diameter. Think of Neptune, it's 31,000 miles in diameter. So is Uranus, same diameter. So that gives Pluto's little 1,500 miles wide a little bit of perspective. I got to talk about some astrology alignments I feel are more stunning than the drama over the retrograde Pluto ones, but Let's see if what comments you're making at the moment. There's Tina Rock who's baking. I can't get if I can get a message up. There she is. I'm baking a wee apple tart whilst listening. And Gronya Mall is here. Hello from screen. Lovely to have you join us. More people joined us. It's absolutely incredible. Sarah's saying something to me in the background. Okay, she's just given. She's going to be on with us very shortly. I'm just going to finish off on this Pluto business because it's very much in the news as we've got it. So to get back to you there. Now, I'm going back to the ancient Chaldeans here because they seem to have had some knowledge of post-Neptune, tiny bits of planets or stars or whatever they are, including what we call Pluto. But their records couldn't be followed. As I was saying, the people who discovered Neptune especially was following the Chaldean observations and bringing them forward to the present. When they tried any planets beyond Neptune, that didn't work. So with all that observation science in mind, I feel astrologers, especially now, create a hell of a lot of drama about Pluto, very much at the expense of not actually contemplating as much as what perhaps they should on more important and more effective planets and their positions and their alignments. Now, during my professional astrology days, I had a lot more success when I actually did interpretations without including Pluto at all. I just kept it out. I did keep a little bit of Neptune and Uranus reference, but I kept that minimal as well. What I did, I followed the Greek teachings of Sun ruling Leo, Moon ruling Cancer, and the other 5 citable planets ruling the other 10 signs. And the 5 planets, of course, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter and Saturn, but both of those had positive and negative interpretations. So you got a more male and female balance than good and bad. For example, Gemini ruled by the positive Mercury, whilst Virgo is the negative Mercury, Libra the positive Venus, and Taurus the negative Venus, and Sagittarius positive Jupiter, and the negative Pisces being and the Jupiter, negative Jupiter ruling Pisces rather than Neptune. Now, Aquarius positive Saturn in comparison to Capricorn negative Saturn. So there we have Aquarius with a Saturn rather than Uranus. And what astrologers, I feel, seriously neglect, and I'm amazed by this, is the node positions on a charting, which I feel are the most important components on an astrology chart. Now, thinking of nodes, while we're involved in this drama about retrograde Pluto that we've just got jumped into, there's something coming up that's really being ignored, and perhaps it's the biggest astrological event that's coming up. Never mind the Pluto, and that is the North Node of Destiny is just about entering Aquarius, with its South Node being in Libra, and this is going to happen in mid-July. And that's really, truly a dick passion alignment. The node of the dragon kind of symbolic of people pleasing each other. But you've got the node of the dragon's head in Aries, which is the perfect place for the Ma Freedoms Brigade, because it's an influence over individuals going for what they want, rather than try to please and compromise with others, which is very much a Libran trait. Also happening in mid-May is an expansive, larger-than-life Jupiter is actually moving into a stubborn fixed Taurus. And that should have an interesting mapping effect on people's lives. It's a very good one for farmers, actually, to get Jupiter into Taurus. Very good for farmers, I would think. So it's great for abundance. Taurus, I tend to think, they seem to be naturally great with the land. Anyway, through history, people have created huge wealth for themselves by causing fear within others. And that's what I feel was going on with this Pluto retrograde nonsense. Shouldn't call it nonsense. Some of you may well believe in this. But the way they make fortunes, people make wealth out of all this, is they ask people to give up something with a promise of getting rid of whatever they're afraid of. It's almost like sneaking snakes or rats into someone's home, and they knock it on the door or say, "Oh, I understand you've got some snakes or rats. I can get rid of them for a price." So I feel there's always quite a bit of that going on in the divination and fortune telling world as well, in the trades as well. Now, when I had a newspaper and magazine, I used to do columns for newspapers and magazines on astrological subjects, and very much some of the stuff I do in nature folklore. And I did it in the same way as I do in nature folklore. But the newspaper and magazines, they used to, when there was Pluto stuff going on, they used to really hound me to talk about Pluto as much as I could, because they said their readers love reading about mass destruction, huge transformations, letting go of the old and getting into dramatic new beginnings. They wanted me to write entirely on that stuff because they said that's what their readers wanted. They wanted to be shocked by astrology. But so I actually got fired because I wasn't into the whole fear mongering and scary stuff. I really wasn't. So I suggest that if and when you read comments in social media or any media about the looming disasters due to Pluto's position, I suggest just treat it like pantomime, look behind you, and then hiss and boo at the screen. Anyway, that's all I got to say at the moment. I know that was quite long, wasn't it? But I think it's a big subject at the moment because of what I'm seeing on the social media. Sounds like what's happening now in the world. This is what I'm saying. You've got to be careful. Don't blame Pluto. That's what I'm saying. We sort of blame everything on the Mercury retrograde, and astrologers can easily grab what people are talking about on Pluto and put components into your life, and you could believe it is Pluto. But what I was trying to illustrate there is Pluto has even been downgraded. It's no longer regarded as a planet. It's kind of a false interpretation. There's much more active stuff going on that should be within interpretation, especially the nodes. Now, Tina Morocco said there. Anyway, I think it's time for Sarah. She's sitting down with her glass of water. I better get my earmuffs on, my earphones, because these weren't working earlier. So, who do I blame it on? We're not in Mercury retrograde, so perhaps I can blame this on Pluto as well. Anyway, I'll get myself prepared for this because Sarah Humble from All Is Well, we've had her live on the show before. As you know, Sarah is constantly on the road around Ireland, living in her amazingly self-converted, self-constructed, and extremely practical camper van. And I was speaking to Sarah this morning, but unfortunately I didn't get to record the video conversation. So she's going to repeat herself a bit when we have her live in a moment. This reception was actually quite good for a while, and Sarah's looking fantastic at the moment. So she's going to be with us live. I'm going to get it on in a moment. And there's two items of news I'd like to echo, and I hope Sarah talk about them. One is she's launched a wonderful new All Is Well website. I'll put the address at the end of the show for that. It's very informative about holy well care and protection around Ireland, and it's very, very easy to navigate. But what I love is just not like me. I just do websites, but when you get to Sarah's website, it just oozes with a personality. It's almost she comes out of the screen with the website. And anyway, I'd like to show you. I think I got a lovely text at the beginning before I have Sarah on. Let's give full room for it. I think I've got something here, and I love this. Let's see if I've got that here. Well, that's the heading. But this is, I love this, that this is the introduction. I'll give you a moment to read on that one. I think that's really lovely. Revitalizing communities, bringing people together to reconnect with the natural world, empower them to care for holy wells, and participants learn about the importance of source water as a resource, and they learn how to take care of holy wells, which is an essential part of Ireland, essential for anywhere in the world for their cultural and spiritual heritage. Connect with these wells, you develop a deeper understanding of the connection to the land and how to live in harmony with it. Um, so there you go. Through all is well, stronger, resilient communities, and it's really time for let Sarah talk about this. Let's see where we got. Yeah. Hello, Sarah. Oh boy, you are looking great there. Can we hear you as well?
Oh, sure, John.
Hang on, you're very quiet unless it's my headphones.
Oh, well, John.
Ah, that's a lot better.
That's a lot better. Maybe we'll do get a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Reception has been wonderful all day. I'm down in the base of the Shannon on the estuary, so from source to sea, essentially. And she's the only thing that's actually keeping me going as regards the amount of computer work that I have to do for this upcoming book that we're going to be releasing. So I'm so glad you were talking about Pluto because at the time I was in and out having strange reception, which seems to be always the case when you and I seem to converse online. So it's nice to see you, John.
And great to see you. You're looking fabulous at the moment, well traveled, and it's been good for you.
Oh, sure, Jesus. When you're connecting with the water, it can't help but be good for you. It's that essence, and there's exciting things happening all over this island. I really feel like there's a large fruition of all of the great work that has been being put in. Like as I was listening to you speak, I was thinking of all these different well groups that have popped up. You've got one in Tipperary by Mr. Ryan. Derek Ryan started transcribing and tracking all the holy wells in Tipperary. Then, of course, you got Amanda Clark's work, who is phenomenal. And excitingly, she's actually nearly just finished her book, and that's going to be coming out for publication within a short time. So that's two water books this year. Then we got
Wonderful.
Brannigan. Oh my God, like his work that he's done with his book in and around the Holy Wells of Dublin is absolutely phenomenal. A pleasure just to be able to tune in and learn about all these things, but also learn about what's not there anymore. And I think that's the key essence of keeping these traditions alive is presence, is actually going and visiting these spaces. And then we've got a project in Donegal. Well, there's a wonderful man named Hugh as well in Sligo who's been tracking the holy wells there.
Hmm.
James Feeney or Sweeney, can't quite remember his full name because I haven't actually spoken to him in person, has been doing a wonderful blog about the holy wells of County Clare. And there's like all these resources that have come out, and it's so exciting to see that in the 7 years of being on this journey of how much more aware people are of their water and especially their sources. And so hopefully this book that we're going to be releasing is going to help people take more empowerment in being able to do that and translate all this knowledge that I've collected from talking to every old one down by the wells and spending time with them and having the cup of tea and learning how they did it or how their grandparents did it. And hopefully we'll be able to condense that into a format that people can use and utilize and to help keep these spaces pristine like they should be.
Yeah, the book's amazing because I'm going to put the GoFundMe link again in the comments after I finish. Yeah, you're not just going to bring out a cheap chapbook. This is going to be some serious stuff. And you were saying it to me earlier how you've managed to pin down Sean Fitzgerald, which is wonderful, established artist in mythology and folklore illustrations. And he says, "Yeah, I've got time for that." He says, "This is the only time I've had time." I thought that was lovely how you were saying that earlier.
It's lovely to have Sean on board. This project has actually been in conception for about 3 years, maybe two and a half. I, we put together. I started putting together the spreadsheets of 100 wells. Now I'm actually thinking about putting a few more in on it because we have 3,000 holy wells, and 100 does seem a bit mean. It might mean more work, but and that it takes a little bit longer. But I think all the data is actually there. It's just taking time to organize it. But Sean had done us the original map when we first thought about this idea. and then got very, very busy. I went and studied herbalism for a while, so college courses always consumed huge amounts of time. But in the last couple of years, I'm really glad we didn't go to print then, because there's so much more, in taking time with this, that I've been able to add and push and hopefully fine tune. So to reach out to Sean again, because it was actually very accidental doing this fundraiser. Sorry, I'm holding this phone. He is maybe we'll try a different place. Sorry. We're having a bit of a crash bang wall at the moment.
Oh, I see. It's just like how I started the show off. Right. Well, hopefully we'll get Sarah back shortly. But that's been one of the best receptions we've had from her. There we go. She's back. It looks it's happening again. There we go. Hello again, Sarah. Well, there's a bit of a change around there. We're not getting you quite yet again.
So I was talking about Sean, and I rang him up.
Amy was saying about doing this in Canada. I bet if you find out, you'll have plenty of springs in Canada. And I'm sure if it was looked around, it's amazing. You'll find all kinds of resources, because they're just called holy wells because of the Christianity approach to it, but they've been natural springs for millions of years before they were holy wells. So you'll have them all over Canada as well. So it's worth investigating. Maybe you can pioneer that, Amy, and get a few people going. You might find your own Sarah Humble over in Canada. It might be you that gets that going. And anywhere in the country, I know some people I met who've done the same thing in Estonia. They've done amazing work there, so this is great. Anyway, Sarah's back. I think we're probably clear here, talking about the book there. What's great, I was looking at the statistics on GoFundMe. You're a quarter of the way to the budget you're trying to get, because you're not messing around. You've got a wonderful artist supporting that, wonderful production coming up, and also the editing and all that kind of tedious stuff. So this is going to be a real professional publication. So it's great how this is coming together. Now, as far as the people that are going, those who are helping you out with this, what would be the qualification? This is a bit rude to say at this point, I'm saying, but how will they get the book? Will they get a free book, discounted book, or how do you think this will work?
Well, we're still working through how this all works, because, like I said, it was a bit accidental, as all the best things in life are. So I was sleeping down by the raging seas of the Irish Sea down in Cork, and I woke up in the middle of the night as the storm was brewing, and I accidentally created this fundraiser for the book. Fell back asleep, forgot about it, woke up in the morning, didn't even think about it. It just had a kind of immediate, oh, I'll share this. And
how it works.
Suddenly, because my word is my bond, I find myself having to honor my word. So there's lots that is still evolving and still coming forth about how this money is going to be raised, and how we're going to offer back our appreciation for people's generosity in creating this book. So I'll totally keep you updated, and when we know, everybody else will know. But it has been very much in my mind in how to show appreciation back to people's generosity for this book. I hope that it's just going to open the doors for them, and it's going to potentially free up my time for being able to step more into that educational role, and bring the experience to communities and to groups that have interest in maintaining not only their water sources, but their community and the community spirit within it, by utilizing these places as the gathering places they're meant to be.
Certainly, all the best things that happen do seem to happen when people wake up and they've got the idea, they put it out there, they haven't even planned anything. It's just that inspiration is from a prompt. I mean, that's the healthiest And of course, people will support you without any thought of return. Oh, Sarah's doing this. This is what we need. Let's get this going. And of course, it's this whole thing of it just works. Everybody gets involved and they get to see it. And we don't. You don't have to put all that stuff onto spreadsheets in advance, otherwise you'll kill it. So it's a wonderful approach, and it's fantastic. You are doing that, and yeah, as I'm going to be talking about to finish off this show, doing the course, and it's amazing that the first module is going to be water-based anyway. So I'll be talking about that and how a lot of people, like you were saying, are involved suddenly in water appreciation and the good. We need this good, clean, wild, free water. So it's fantastic. I wonder how much you can say on this. How much can you say about the idea of the rivers of Ireland actually taking on the personality, so that the people they're protected?
Okay, if you just give me 2 seconds, and I'm sorry, I did have to go tonight, but we had a.
Yes. I was saying that because when I was talking to Sarah earlier, I had to be careful with my words because she said we don't have to make much of this public yet.
Well,
I think the concept is lovely because the Boyne is already getting involved with this in a certain way.
Okay, I did check in with Future Proof Clare, who are working in conjunction with the Technical University of the Shannon, the Environmental Justice Network Ireland, Zero Waste Ireland, and Eco Justice Ireland, right? So that's quite a big coalition that's gone on. And what these wonderful people have done is recognise and acknowledge that the River Shannon does deserve rights.
Yes.
And so they made a commitment upon the UN website to pursue the rights of nature for the River Shannon. Now, what this means is going to be an unfolding, but it's an exciting step towards our water being acknowledged as the important resource that we have for all of the different reasons, whether you regard the water spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, or in any other spectrum that you can actually conceptualize. It's something that unifies us all. And if we can begin to recognize the water, then perhaps we can begin to recognize ourselves. So it's early stages. The commitment has just gone into the UN. I've sent you a link, so maybe you can put that inside the WeChat.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting development in on this land. I mean, to watch other countries be able to gain a voice for their sacred rivers, like in New Zealand, and God forgive me, I can't pronounce the name of the river, and I won't even try to attempt to massacre it, but they've done huge things in writing the legal frameworks for these rivers to be given proper respect, because we're watching so much ecocide happening in along the line, in and around the country, and with the way that our water is interconnected, we face a potential ecological disaster unless we actually start utilizing and recognizing how important these spaces actually are to us, and that we deserve, and our children deserve, that these spaces be preserved. So these are steps forward. So Future Proof Clare is one of the projects that are involved and is open to communication with people who are looking to lend support in how we pursue the rights for nature. They're receiving an application, so do tune in to them. And they're also taking on the case against Oglish. So there is a mining company that has been visiting and prospecting in many of our different counties. Some people are familiar with the Spurrins campaign, and it's also in Leitrim and in Meath. And recently, this mining company has put in an application in Tulla, which is right on the banks of the River Shannon. It's a potential disaster to have these sorts of mining practices on such a small space. So you'll have to all just stay tuned and see how this is coming forward. And please feel free to be reaching out with any of these ideas and projects. And, I really feel the voice of the waters of Ireland are beginning to speak through many, many voices. And we've, like a few months ago, I started filming the water and using my Instagram account, because it occurred to me that the waters of Ireland is this symphony that is completely always playing in tune with each other. But it's such a big symphony that we only get to hear little notes and little parts of this when we sit beside a water source. And so if you go onto the Instagram, you can begin to scroll through and not only see the interplay of the light on the water and the light codes that actually come through the water, but you can hear the sound of all these different water bodies that are constantly flowing. And it's wonderful to see this being mimicked in the people around that I'm getting to meet on the island, who also have this strong draw towards the preservation of these spaces. So yeah, there's lots of exciting developments, and I feel that each of these water projects has an opportunity to learn off each other and form a network of unity in how we make sure that these spaces are properly respected.
Yeah. Susan Samuel, she's a wonderful fan. In the Wirral in England, she's been involved with a beautiful well construction. It's massive. And here she's saying she met a guy that started Eco Justice Island on the course of the Eden Project last weekend. And so there we go. Sort of crossing the waters. And Sarah and Tina Rock saying hello there. It's wonderful. So that's fantastic. Lovely getting a good reception with you, and hopefully we can do this again very soon as all these updates happen. And you've got a lot of fans within Nature Echoes and the Nature Folklore, so it's great to actually hear your voice updating what you got. So thanks for tuning in, Sarah. We'll get back to you very soon. So that was wonderful, and we'll put the links, or if you can put some links in on the public uh, comments, then that would be absolutely fabulous. Great. So,
If you feel inclined to donate, it's just very simple. Just go on to the All Is Well, and you'll be able to find the GoFundMe links from there.
and you got the alliswell.ie there. Let's get that back up, just in case anybody needs glasses like me. At the bottom, alliswell.ie, and that'll take you where you need to go. So thanks very much, Sarah. Thank you. It's been a great pleasure. Bye there. Bye. Ah, that's absolutely wonderful to get this. So, yeah, I feel like extending the program for a show for another hour when Sarah's around. Anyway, that was Sarah Humble live. Any comments have I missed? No. I'm going to give you a Journaling Nature Folklore update here. And I was going to talk about an event that I went to yesterday. That was very interesting, but I'm going to save that until as an echo for next Sunday. And also on Facebook, I posted memories of our past Bards in the Woods that we ran. We had the seasons of Bards in the Woods from 2002 to 2008. There was a lot of response to those postings when I did it last week. People are setting up similar to our Bards in the Woods for this summer. And when I started Bards in the Woods during 2002, it was regarded that I'd just gone away with the fairies. I was a complete idiot. And because there was a national sell for forestry, but people were saying, what on earth are you doing? And almost all the attendees to Bards in the Woods then were actually Eastern Europeans. They were immigrants in Ireland, and they understood what it was about, because there's wonderful forestry coverage in the countries they come from. So it must seem really weird in Ireland to have the lacking of forestry. And now, this year, the wonderful Woodland League of Ireland, they used to tease me about doing Bards in the Woods in 2002. Now they're going to launch their own Bards in the Woods this summer from May onwards. So it's really sort of catching on. There's a few other people that say they're going to be doing that. Jerry Dolan, Irish person from Roscommon, he now lives in Norfolk. He started up in East Anglia in 2002. That's still going. It's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So a lot of dedication there. But there is a campaign, and that is started up again. Public forestry is being sold under the table. They say it's off the table, but it's going on under the table, being sold off to vulture funds and cuckoo fund investors from the UK, North America, maybe Australia, I don't know. It's really its ugly head again. So there's a campaign, people wanting to start this up, especially with the Woodland League, to attract more people into the woods, enjoy them, respect them, and they don't want to let go of them. And that's what motivated us way back in 2002. Back then, when there was forestry protests in 2002, to me, it looked really odd because all the protests were going on in the streets and in hotels, not actually in the woods themselves. There was one great event, I think it was in June 2002, and at that, Glenn Hansard and Christy Moore, they took some lead over that. So, of course, the popularity of them being in the woods got people out in the woods as well. But unfortunately, after that June event, there were a lot of banner-carrying people who the following week would hold up banners with something completely different. So they would be protesting about something different every week. It's as if their commitment was more towards being noisy, giving out mob, rather than being part of a dedicated, sustained passion. Anyway, a few words about my journaling nature folklore course. The first module's almost complete, and I aim to post that for the course subscribers on the Thursday, 30th of March. That's next Thursday. You get that, you get onto the course through the Substack, €30 a year or whatever it is in your currency. There's the address there that you can subscribe. There's a free tier, and on the free tier you get some of my articles. If you go for the 30 a year, which is a huge discount on playing monthly, you get the full course plus the articles that are private for the subscribers. There'll be as I say, the first module, which is actually water connected, as I was saying. That's going to be, and I realize, see, I've got Weeping Willow. There's a bit of a hint because I called this show Between the Moon, Conduit Between the Moon and Water. And there you go, you got the Weeping Willow there. It's all about prompts, and prompts, because prompts were how people communicated before they could put together symbols into words and paragraphs, which we take for granted now. So anyway, after that one on Thursday, there's going to be another module coming out on Monday, 17th of April. There's going to be 20 in the whole year. But this Thursday's module, as I say, there's several water-related prompts involved in it. And I've amazed, in the last week, I've been contacted or been seeing various courses hosted by people that have all been launching with using water as their main prompts and main theme. So this is really catching on, as Sarah was saying. Suddenly it's all about water. Is this the Pluto transformation going on? Maybe I ought to eat my words about why I said Pluto earlier. But of course, as I was saying, astrologers can grab elements of Pluto and bend. Also, response and support willing. The first online course support workshop, a workshop for people that have subscribed to the Journaling Nature Folklore course. We're going to actually have a live online workshop on Tuesday, 2nd of May. Get that into your diaries if you're a subscriber or going to be a subscriber. I was going to do it on Monday, 1st of May, but in Ireland, the Beltner holiday Monday is on that first. I would have liked to have had a Monday, but no, we're going to shift it to the 2nd on the Tuesday. And I say this is subject to response and support. There needs to be some advanced support on this, because in order to do a proper workshop online for you, I have to actually increase my own investment in online broadcasting to have a platform that is much better than this broadcasting one that I use on the Sundays, and certainly superior to what you get on Zoom as well. So course subscribers, let me know in advance if you're available 2nd of May. You've already paid your €30 subscription, so that's included. There's no sort of separate charge for the course, for the workshop, even though I have to pay a higher subscription. I'm using those annual subscription funds in order to cover that. So it's very simple on your side. But also, if you're coming to the course, you're going to be on the online course on the 2nd of May. Please message me in some way, email, Facebook Messenger, or however you contact me. Suggest a time that you would like the course, the workshop for the course to be hosted, and for how long as well. Anyway, let's see. We got Amy Dixon's looking forward to it, and Tina, who was one of the pioneer attendees, one of the non-Eastern European attendees in the early days of Bards in the Wood. Lovely. So, right. Thank you very much for watching Nature Echoes. Because of Sarah and because of me rattling on about Pluto, we've gone way over time this time. But thank you for watching the Nature Echoes through this afternoon and evening. And if you enjoy what we share here live, go through the Nature Folklore channels. Consider subscribing, as I mentioned, through the Substack link there. No, that's Tina's comment, which is a very nice link anyway. There we go. Subscribe there. There's 2 tiers. There is a free tier where you get to see some of the articles, but the paid tier gets you the 20 modules of the Journaling Nature Folklore course, gets you into the live online seminars, and there's lots of other articles in depth on nature folklore subjects. But the lovely thing is, it's all this content there, it's free of adverts, there's no algorithms, pollution, and there is a nice bit of chat going on that isn't offensive and it isn't abusive. It's a very lovely community. Sarah's just got a link up there, which is fabulous. So what's coming up? Thank you anyway for the support, subscribers, because that actually helps me keep the Nature Echoes going, because of the subscriptions I have to pay to do this on Sundays. The one thing you'll find with Substack, you actually pay through the through Stripe, so you use your card. If you're not into cards, prefer PayPal, you can actually go through. I haven't got the link there, but go through my channel on Patreon, because if you go through Patreon, you can pay by PayPal. On all Patreon subscribers, I give a free subscription to the Substack. I can arrange that, so you get a 2-for-1 when you go through the PayPal. Through the Patreon. So coming up on next Sunday's Nature Echoes, I'm going to perhaps talk about the Mayo Holy Woast, which I skipped today. I'll talk about the alternative Bards in the Woods that's being hosted around the country and why that's important, not only in Ireland. So any comments? We've got Sarah's, we've got Breezy Kelly here saying hello. So enjoyed listening to you. I made potato and leek soup. Oh, I need to do that right over the show as well. I haven't got the leek soup, but I'll do an equivalent. And needed loaf of yeast spreader. That's fabulous. Wonderful. Of course, the baking for pieces going on all live and well with Breezy Kelly, which is fantastic. Sarah Humble is giving the addresses here. The all is well, nice and simple. And this is the about the link for the rivers. For actually giving personality and also protection, respect, and the rights of rivers. And there's something else going on here from there. The journal, Planning and Development Bill, a link to that. So fantastic links. Thank you, Sarah, for putting those links in. She's gone now. So that's that. Kind of put those on before leaving. So thank you. Really enjoyed sharing this with Nature Echoes. Thank you for Sarah Humble for joining us. If you're watching this as the replay later, please keep posting your comments and questions. I didn't get to promote this through the YouTube channels this time again, but if you're on the YouTube, there is the bell that tells you what's coming up in the next week. I do check all the comments, the late comments, because a lot of people do comment later on when they watch the archives. So enjoy a safe week, full of wonder, inspirations. Thanks for staying the long haul with me, because it is over the hour this time. But enjoy a safe week, all those wonderful inspirations and enchantments that comes from any presence that you may enter into with the water, the woods, and the mysteries of nature. So until next Sunday, thank you very much. Play well, and wish you a fantastic week. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. I'm off. Thanks. Bye.